Hello, friends. This is Jim here with Science Talk, and I kind of want to, in this video segment, want to give you kind of a summary of some of the shit that humans are causing on the planet. This is not comprehensive, but it's enough to make you want to just bang your head against the wall, I think. Um, and it deals with how humans are driving the sixth mass extinction. Now, there is a study or a report, it has not been peer reviewed, has not been published yet, of a possibility of another mass extinction event that occurred I think it was, I'm trying to remember the number, I think it was 260 million years ago, something like that. So if that's the case, then this would be the seventh mass extinction that humans are creating. But I'll reserve judgment until there's a paper in a peer-reviewed journal that demonstrates there was this other mass extinction event. So that's kind of a little caveat to begin this video segment with. So for the sixth or seventh time since life's been on planet Earth, mass extinction is a threat, and this time the cause is us. About 1 million or more of the world's animal and plant species are now at risk of extinction. This is the largest number in human history ever to be faced with this threat. Many species can be wiped out in decades. Their dire situation is the result of human activity. And, humans are part of the ecosystem. It eventually will affect us. This warning was delivered by Professor Sir Robert Watson. He's a British scientist. He is the chair of the UN's Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, IPBES. He told at this IPBES meeting that was held in Paris and this meeting was to approve the summary of the new Global Assessment Report on the state of life on Earth and the implications for humans. And basically, they're very grave. The overwhelming evidence presented a very ominous picture. The health of the ecosystems in which every species, including us, depend on is deteriorating more rapidly than ever before. It's positive feedback loops are kicking in, and as the old saying goes, shit has hit the fan. It's getting bad and it's getting worse. This is a quote, we are eroding the very foundations of our economies, livelihoods, food security, health, and quality of life worldwide. Now, Professor Watson was previously chair of the UN's IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Now, he's not saying, everything is woe and despair and all that kind of stuff. But just remember, the IPCC did just release a report saying if humans don't get their act together by 2030, we're fucked. We're screwed. It's going to be too late. The IPCC, which tends to downplay everything, underestimate. Oh, it's not as bad. Yeah, bullshit. They hardly ever talk about methane. For those of you who've been watching my videos for some time, you know that I don't exactly have any love for the IPCC. Professor Watson does state that we are in trouble if we don't act, but there are a range of actions that can be taken to protect nature and meet human goals for health and development. It is not too late to make a difference, but only if we start now at every level from local to global. Personally, I think it is too late, but that's just me. So, what are some of the findings of this report? The average abundance of native species in most major land-based habitats has fallen by at least 20%, mostly since 1900. More than 40% of amphibians and more than a third of all marine mammals are threatened. The picture is not as clear for insects, but available evidence supports a tentative estimate of 10% being threatened. It may be more, actually. Professor Joseph Settley, one of the co-chairs of the Global Assessment, and he's associated with the Helmholtz Center for Environmental Research, located in Germany. He says the essential interconnected web of life on Earth is getting smaller and increasingly frayed. This loss is a direct result of human activity and constitutes a direct threat to human well-being in all regions of the world. The summary says there are 5 main causes of the crisis. Descending order. Changes in land and sea use. That's the first one. Second one, direct exploitation of animals and plants. 3, climate change. 4, pollution. 5, invasive alien species. Personally, I put climate change at number 1. So here are some of the details. 3/4 of the land-based environment and about 66%, 2/3, of the marine environment have been significantly altered by human actions. On average, these trends have been less severe or avoided in areas held or managed by indigenous people and local communities. Very interesting. In other words, indigenous people know what the hell they're doing. They know best how to manage their land. More than 1/3 of the world's land surface, nearly 75% of freshwater resources are now devoted to crop or livestock production. Raw timber demand has risen by 45%. Approximately 60 billion tons of renewable and non-renewable resources are now extracted globally every year, having nearly doubled since 1980. Land degradation has reduced the productivity of 23% of the global land surface, up to approximately 577 billion US dollars in annual global crops are at risk from pollinator loss, and 100 to 300 million people are at increased risk of floods, hurricanes because of loss of coastal habitats and protection. Add to the fact that crops are at risk from warmer temperatures and declining nutrient values. Since 1980, plastic pollution has increased tenfold. Since 1992, urban areas have more than doubled. In 2015, 33%, 1/3, of marine fish stocks were being harvested at unsustainable levels, i.e., overfished. Many people rely on food from the oceans. Fish stocks crash. Some of them are showing signs of doing that. Many people will go hungry. Check out my video, Are There Too Many People on the Planet Earth? I keep saying, this is not sustainable. There are too many people for finite, limited resources. And let me go back to where it says that, where is that? More than 1/3 of the world's land surface is devoted to crop or livestock production. That's world's land surface. A lot of that is not usable. So then you're trying to house people in the remaining parts of the world. You're going to try and conduct business. This is not sustainable. You can't keep doing this. You just can't. There will not be enough food. There will not be enough housing, and you still got to, devote land to grow, material to make clothing. There's going to be a massive correction. And of course, this current extinction is human-driven. We pretty much know that. IPBES basically stated that humankind and its activities are responsible for what is happening, and that we shall have to pay the price. So this meeting approved, this Paris meeting approved a 40-page summary of the full IPBES report. There are 2 conferences planned at the end of this year, 2020, on a natural world and climate change, and will provide global leaders with an opportunity to make specific plans for action. As I've stated many times before, scientists collect the data, we make our analyses, we tell you what's going on in our best estimate, we make our recommendations. The one thing we don't do is make policies. We may recommend policies, but we don't implement policies. That's the politician. And the politicians need to get off their goddamn asses and take this shit seriously and start doing something. Because otherwise, humans will be added to the list of species that will have gone extinct. Even though the fate of all species is extinction. We'll just make it a lot faster for us. So the other thing I want to mention in closing this video is if you have not read Elizabeth Kolbert's The Sixth Extinction, it came out several years old now, but it is an excellent piece of journalism, excellent scientific journalism. It's an excellent book. I do highly recommend it. So there you have it. Humans are messing things up. And as that sign in my old research institute used to say, a good planet is hard to find. Thank you for your time. Hey friends, this is Jim reminding you to subscribe and share my videos. Also, don't forget to click the bell so that you know when I drop a video in. And I'm also asking for you to please support the work that I do by becoming a patron at patreon.com. Details in the description box below. Thank you for your continued support.